Nigeria's constitution does not allow religious persecution. Federal government tells international community again.
This is what guides us, and this is what shows that it's impossible for there to be a religious persecution.
Do not panic. We are taking steps for better security of lives and property. Federal government tells Nigerians.
This is not a time for division, it's not a time for rhetoric, it's not a time for politics, it is a time for nation building.
Plus, House of Representatives suspends plenary to demand settlement of outstanding payments to local contractors.
We should not make a mistake. Our societies have lived together for centuries in unity.
Good evening and welcome to the Network News on NTA. I am Elizabeth Omori. Ajola Komiakere will be leading from Lagos. Our very busy businessman, Benny Adams, will bring us some business reports. Benny?
Well, the latest on business is the fact that the federal government is telling the business community in Nigeria to go to the bank and get money for their businesses, as 60% of their risks is being guaranteed. And Bade Adeleye will bring us some sporting stories. Bade?
Well, Elizabeth, there has been a change of coach when it comes to a Nigerian top club. And of course, it's UEFA Champions League night. We're ready for that.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. And don't forget to follow this newscast live on all our social media handles displayed on the screen. Here's the news. President Bola Tinubu this Tuesday received the Archbishop of Abuja Catholic Diocese, Most Reverend Ignatius Kaigama, at the State House. The meeting between the president and the religious leader lasted about 40 minutes behind closed doors, although details of the meeting were not made public. The consultation came at a time some quarters are alleging religious persecution in the country. State House correspondent Musbaut Danwahab reports that President Bola Tinubu has at different fora affirmed his commitment to respect the Constitution, which guarantees the right of every Nigerian to choose and practice any religion freely. And President Bola Tinubu calls for calm among Nigerians, assuring that his government is taking concrete steps towards ensuring better security of lives and property of all citizens. The president conveyed this message through the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, and the Presidential Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, who met with him at the State House. During the meeting, the Information Minister disclosed that the issue of the U.S. government threat of military action in Nigeria came up. He assured that the government is already ahead with steps to record greater results in the fight against insecurity.
Only last week or 2 weeks ago, Mr. President, in his own desire to rekindle the security architecture of the country, reinvigorated the hierarchy of the armed forces. A new chief of defense staff and other service chiefs were appointed. Now, this is all all the issues that came out of the United States. So that tells you that Mr. President has been working assiduously to ensure that Nigeria is a country that remains safer for all Nigerians to live in. We're looking at all the issues, and we don't want to overheat the discussions, but work is ongoing, and we're also opening the channels of communication so that the international community will understand what Nigeria has been doing better, and also what we intend to further do to ensure that whatever concerns there are, either domestically here or from the international community, are answered.
All right, Honorable Minister, you said some steps have been taken, going by what you have just said. Nigerians have been suggesting so many things, including having a dialogue with the religious bodies and all of that, diplomatic means. What precisely is the government doing in this regard?
Well, it's a multiple approach. You know that discussions with the leadership of the religious groups is an ongoing effort. Mr. President has been meeting with them, and of course he will continue to do that. They're all Nigerians, and he is leading them, and so They are, of course, an important stakeholder in the Nigerian project. So, yes, Mr. President will continue to engage with them. Mr. President will continue to engage with his national community, not just the United States, everyone, the regional bodies, the continental bodies, and everyone that we think has a role to play in ensuring that Nigeria succeeds in ridding this country of these criminal elements that are helping the world to drive this narrative so that Nigeria will have a very bad name. And we know that this is not who we are as a country. So for us to be characterized as a country that is not tolerant when it comes to religion is not accurate. This is absolutely false. Nigeria has Muslim and Christian and even those who do not believe in any of these religions. And our constitution guarantees that everyone should practice his faith without let or hindrance. And Mr. President is going to respect that to the letter. So again, yes, we have these security challenges, but nowhere has there been any decision to favor one religion or the other, or to inflict violence over one religion. What has happened is that we have these extremists that are driving this narrative, and the desired outcome for them is to see that this country is divided, and we want to caution Nigerians to look deeper. This is a time for us to reflect on our nationhood, to reflect on our unity, to come together. This is not the time for division, it's not a time for rhetoric, it's not a time for politics. It is a time for nation building, a time for calling for everyone, to come together so that we can continue to have the Nigeria of our dream.
Meanwhile, the federal government has clarified that the country's constitution does not allow religious persecution, as been alleged by a section of the international community. Minister of Foreign Affairs Yusuf Tugar made the clarification at a press conference in Germany. Chukunonson Wabweze reports.
Yusuf Tugar, while responding to questions about U.S. President Donald Trump's warning of potential military action if Nigeria fails to curb the alleged killing of Christians by insurgents at the press conference in Berlin, emphasized that Nigeria's commitment to religious freedom and rule of law as provided in the nation's constitution makes it impossible for any religion to be persecuted under any guise.
This is what guides us. And this is what shows that it's impossible for there to be a religious persecution that can be supported in any way, shape, or form by the government of Nigeria at any level, be it federal, be it regional, be it local. It's impossible. We should not create another Sudan. Nigeria has a population of 230 million souls. It's the largest democracy on the African continent. It's the largest country on the continent. We've seen what has happened with Sudan, with agitations for the partitioning of Sudan based on religion, based on tribal sentiments.
The minister's submission is in line with the federal government's position that no particular faith has been isolated for targeted attacks more than other faiths in the country. Chukunonson Wabweze, NTA.
Still on the claims, Executive Secretary of the Nigeria Christian Pilgrim Commission, Bishop Stephen Adebite, says Christian leaders are working closely with their Muslim counterparts under the Nigeria Interreligious Council in fostering peace and mutual understanding among Nigerians. Bishop Adebite was reacting to the recent remark by the U.S. President Donald Trump that Christian persecution is taking place in Nigeria. He notes that both faiths have been victims of insurgency in the past years.
This crisis is not a religious war, but a national security emergency rooted in terrorism and criminality. Nigeria's religious leaders stand united against violence.
Following claims by the U.S. President Donald Trump alleging Christian persecution in Nigeria, citizens from different faiths are reacting and note that contrary to this belief, people from both faiths are victims of insurgency. They affirm that Nigeria as a heterogeneous nation has always been committed to religious freedom of worship as enshrined in its constitution, where adherents of the two major religions, Islam and Christianity, coexist harmoniously, intermarry and share in each other's celebrations.
We must quickly say again that in Nigeria, we have also the killing of Muslims. The terrorists have come to give us a very bad picture before the world, but I believe it is a thing we can handle.
You see a Muslim man marrying a Christian woman. An example of that, we have a lot of examples. An example of that is the number one of this country, which is the President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, who married to a Christian woman. And they have been living in peace. Yes, bandits have been killing innocent souls in this country. It's not synonymous only to Christian.
Advocate understanding on the matter at hand and emphasized that Nigeria is known for being a nation where people care for one another. And China condemns the designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern, rejecting Washington's threats of sanctions and military action. At a press briefing, Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning reaffirmed Beijing's support for Nigeria, describing the country as a comprehensive strategic partner. They oppose any country interfering in others' internal affairs under the pretext of religion or human rights. Now, as security challenges West Africa's faith, foundations and governance across the Sahel, ECOWAS brings together clerics and leaders to foster peace through dialogue, interweaving belief and responsibility. Correspondent Ibrahim Damhamidu reports.
At the ECOWAS Commission in Abuja, regional leaders, Islamic scholars and peace builders are examining how faith and governance can jointly confront insecurity across the Sahel.
Our objectives are clear. Review the current state of the traditional Islamic institution and its impact on vulnerable children.
We should not make a mistake. Our societies have lived together for centuries in unity, exchanging what they have for what their neighbors do not, have.
Delegates say extremist ideologies often thrive where poverty, ignorance, and injustice persist.
For this reason, the Federal Ministry of Education views this issue not only as a security concern, but as a developmental and educational imperative.
For Nigeria, the message is clear that faith and leadership must serve the same purpose, with peace through justice.
As the Sahel looks beyond conflict, ECOWAS reminds the region that lasting peace is born from conscience and cooperation. From the ECOWAS Parliament in Abuja, I'm Ibrahim Danhamidu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Committee of Experts of the African Union Peace and Security is meeting in Abuja to discuss threats to the continent. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that the meeting, at the instance of the Office of the National Security Advisor, is preparatory to AU's Peace and Security Council.
A committee of experts of the African Union Peace and Security Council meeting in Abuja. The goal, to review threats to security on the continent and advise the Peace and Security Council.
These challenges demand a renewed collective commitment of this critical committee.
Terrorism, political instability and military coups remain threats to security on the continent.
The government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria remains deeply committed to the war against terrorism and to advancing the cause of peace and security on the African continent.
The outcome of the meeting is expected to shape the decisions of the Peace and Security Council, the standby decision-making body of the African Union, responsible for management and resolution of conflicts on the continent. The forum also seeks to strengthen strategic security networks among the AU experts in view of the dynamic nature of the emerging threats in the African continent. From the National Counter-Terrorism Center here in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
You're watching the news on NTA. Let's take a break, and when we return, more reports to stay with us.
beating heart of Owerri. Business never sleeps. From sunrise to sundown, the wheels keep turning.
Thanks for staying with us. The Department of State Security has reiterated its commitment to prosecuting terrorism suspects and shall continue to make them accountable for disrupting the peace of the country in consonance with the rule of law. A statement by the Deputy Director, Public Relations and Strategic Communications, DSS Favor Dozie, says Nigeria security agencies have been diligent in dealing with perpetrators of terror in the country, prosecuting hundreds of suspects, with some under military protective custody, whose cases have been handled by the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation. She revealed that 125 terrorists were convicted last year and listed many others being prosecuted currently, including those wanted internationally. And now to activities at the National Assembly. Senate says comments of the United States President Donald Trump on Nigeria will be discussed soon at plenary as it reaffirms the sovereignty of the nation. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that this came up when the Senate was reacting to social media posts on the matter.
When people take issues out of Nigeria and they go and misrepresent and try to create the impression that Christians and Muslims are fighting, totally untrue. We shall discuss that later.
The President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has plenary noted that it was wrong to spread falsehood on the social media, but that the Senate will soon have a discussion on the comments of President Trump regarding security in Nigeria.
Nigeria is a sovereign nation. I'm a parliamentarian. I'm a deputy president. I can speak on behalf of Nigeria. I'm not scared of strong.
In another development, Senate has set up a 12-man ad hoc committee to investigate the state of rail transport in Nigeria, particularly the amount borrowed and expended on the projects, as it expresses worry over inefficiencies in the sector.
These persistent failures reveal a systemic pattern of neglect that now threatens public safety and national infrastructure investment.
Why is it that we're having this kind of problems while other countries have similar projects that are delivering for more than 20, 30 years?
A full-blown investigation, because we know how much, in millions of dollars, that was borrowed to construct these rail lines.
Senate has granted approval to requests of President Tinubu for the confirmation of appointees. It also received another request to confirm Dr. Tochukwu Ude SAN from Enugu State as minister. The Senate has in the meantime appealed to local contractors over unpaid completed projects as it promises to fast-track the approval of the latest 1.1 trillion naira federal government's domestic loan request meant for that purpose.
I call on them to give government time so that their grievances will be attended to.
From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA.
In a twist of events, the House of Representatives has rescinded its decision to suspend plenary for 7 days over outstanding payment of local contractors for projects already executed. The House called on the executive to settle the payment. National Assembly correspondent Mitari Ikmen reports.
Gaining access into the National Assembly complex was an ordeal on Tuesday morning as local contractors protested delayed payments for projects they have executed. The issue had lingered for months, forcing the House leadership in September to interface between the contractors and the Ministry of Finance, while payments reportedly commenced after presidential directives. However, the dust is yet to settle, as the local contractors have vowed to pitch tent in the National Assembly until they are paid. This prompted an urgent motion by the House Minority Leader on the floor, which was further amended and adopted unanimously by a voice vote.
Consequently, the House is urged to resolve that the Minister of Finance, Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, and the Accountant General of the country be given 7 days to make the aforesaid payments of all outstanding bills to local contractors for 2024 and implement the 2025 budget.
Sitting of plenary should adjourn for 1 week. After 1 week, when we hear from the side of the executives about this issue of non-payment and implementation of 2025 budget, then we will continue sitting, Mr. Speaker.
The contractors promised that during this 1 week they will continue to demonstrate, make this place inconducive for us and inaccessible for us. So we won't be fighting with them at the gate to come in. So it's sensible for us to keep away and give the government, the executive, the opportunity to do the needful. I agree very much with the motion and I second it.
However, contrary to its resolution on the floor, House spokesman Akin Rotimi has issued a statement announcing that the House of Representatives will reconvene for plenary on Wednesday, the 5th of November 2025 to rescind its decision to suspend plenary. The House spokesman attributed the sudden turn of events to positive developments arising from engagements and interventions across various levels of government concerning issues that informed the earlier adjournment. Also during plenary, the House rejected a motion to investigate alleged illegal allocation of federal government land at the Lagos International Trade Fair Complex. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
In other news, Vice President Kashim Shettima is en route to Brazil to represent President Bola Tinubu at the 30th session of the United Nations Climate Change Conference, tagged COP30, in Belém from November 6th to 7th. The summit, convened by Brazil's president, will focus on climate action and implementation, with special emphasis on adaptation, forest, biodiversity, and climate justice. During the conference, the Vice President will join world leaders, development partners, and business executives at the General Plenary, where he is expected to present Nigeria's Climate Action Address. He will also participate in the launch of the Tropical Forest Forever Fund, attend high-level roundtables on climate, nature, and energy transition, and engage in discussions focusing on nationally determined contributions and climate financing. Before returning to Nigeria, the Vice President will visit Brasilia for a reciprocal meeting with his Brazilian counterpart following his earlier visit to Nigeria in June. Talking humanitarian affairs, First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu has reaffirmed government's commitment to better the quality of life of Nigerians through various poverty alleviation programs. Represented by the wife of the Vice President, Nana Shettima, the First Lady made the promise while flagging off the distribution of essential food items to vulnerable groups in Yenagua as part of the Renewed Hope Initiative's food outreach program. Ebinimi Zitimiyola reports.
The Renewed Hope Initiative's food outreach program has kicked off in Bayelsa State to support low-income earners and vulnerable persons. Wife of the Vice President, Ajia Nana Shettima, represented the wife of the President, Senator Oluremi Tinubu.
The scheme was launched in March 2024 to provide food items to persons with disabilities and other vulnerable groups in order to support their families. We continue to strive to complement the Renewed Hope agenda of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu DCFR by supporting all Nigerians to strive and achieve their goals.
Wife of the Bayelsa State Governor praised the First Lady for her efforts in improving the livelihoods of the vulnerable through the initiative.
These projects will not have been made possible without your gracious benevolence and motherly sacrifices and intuition which propels you to see beyond what the ordinary eyes cannot see.
She has shown us her humaneness. She has shown that she indeed cares about each and every one of us, no matter how low or high we are.
The wife of the president, I want to appreciate her too for coming all the way from that north down here, thinking of us to give us this item. I thank the First Lady. May God bless her.
As the program continues to roll out across the states, many beneficiaries are expected to receive much needed relief. In Yenagua, Ebinimi Zitimiola, NTA News.
Talking health, the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Ali Pata, says the federal government has kicked off a bold wave of regulatory reforms in the health sector designed to attract global standard certifications and ignite higher value investments across Nigeria. The minister at an investment meeting and factory assessment of a Chinese plastics and medical supply manufacturer, Yesumed in Wuxi, China, says the step goes beyond efforts by the presidential initiative to unlock healthcare value chains, but aims at increasing the quality and safety of locally manufactured health products to meet international standards.
We're able to see how efficiently they deployed newer technologies, quality assured, built talent, and managed their workforce to produce medical plastics and other medical devices and technologies. The lesson is in having strong regulatory bodies that are able to efficiently gauge the appropriateness of the technologies and facilitate their access for those who need it at the price that our health system can afford such technologies. We believe on that path, just as we're doing with China, we can do with other countries. Nigeria's road to medical industrialization can only get faster. While we're trying to strengthen our domestic manufacturing capacity with incentives for our private sector actors in Nigeria.
Crop compliance and water quality testing that meets international standards will remain the focus of FAMUSA Laboratory, one of Nigeria's leading facilities for the analysis of agro-commodities and water types. The laboratory, known for its proficiency testing and commitment to global standards, continues to play a vital role in ensuring the safety and quality of agricultural products and drinking water across the country. Johanna Suhassan Barrow reports.
Nigeria is among the world's top producers of sesame, hibiscus, and groundnut, key cash crops that have the potential to earn billions in foreign exchange. But despite this potential, many export products have been rejected abroad due to poor quality and lack of compliance with international safety standards. To address this challenge, laboratories across the country are stepping up efforts to ensure that Nigerian agricultural products meet global expectations. Among them is FAMUSA Lab, a facility dedicated to testing and analysis of agricultural commodities and all forms of water, including physical, chemical, mycotoxin, microbial, and pesticides analysis.
I'm the first internationally accredited laboratory in the north of Nigeria. We have obtained the ISO 17.25, and this is an ISO certificate that is backed by IJAC, and this is recognized in 102 countries.
The only time that we have to sit off and make all things possible to avoid all discontamination and adulteration.
How can this help Nigerian products meet international standard?
In Kano here now, everything is going to be a little bit easy for our exporter to sell their products.
So good. I've gone through their processes and I'm very confident that they are going to deliver.
Every commodity that is going to be exported must be tested for especially pesticides, herbicides.
Beyond food and crops, FAMUSA Lab also ensures the safety of Nigeria's water sources, testing boreholes among others to ensure public health. In Kano, Johanna Suhassan Barrow, NTA News.
It's time to join Ajola in Lagos for more reports on the news.
Elizabeth, leadership in public service is fundamentally about stewardship, accountability, and impact. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, who was represented, stated this at the mandatory training program for Chief Executive Officers of federal government parastatals and agencies at the Administrative Staff College of Nigeria, ASCON, Badagry, Lagos. Bolaji Akim completes the story.
The mandatory training program is aimed at addressing persistent gaps in leadership capacity and institutionalized governance within the public sector. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, who was represented, reminded the participants of the main thrust of the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu, which is not just to restore Nigeria, but to take her to greater heights through visionary leadership and commitment.
You sit at the heart of our transformation efforts of translating government policies into tangible benefit for Nigerians. Every promise we have made will only be delivered when you bring forth your strength, professionalism, integrity, and discipline.
Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Didi Wilson-Jack, in her remarks, revealed that the training program would reflect collective commitments to building a dependable public service.
Participants would be ready to drive leadership of a future-ready workforce. We would now see measurable impact, and we will see a workforce that is ready to deliver on the national development goals.
The management of ASCON re-emphasized its determination in providing prerequisite skills and knowledge needed to perform optimally in both public and private sectors.
We have the training modules, we have the induction system, we have the examination, we have the preparing promotion for directors to permanent secretaries from one cadre to the other.
The training will also ensure that the chief executive officers possess the leadership and governance competencies to translate national priorities into institutional results. In Lagos, Bolaji Akim, NTA News.
Global skincare brand Nivea took center stage at this year's Lagos Fashion Fair with an engaging conversation highlighting the importance of hygiene and style. The event also featured the unveiling of the brand's latest exclusive and unique collections and Nivea's black and white themed runway showcase. Ime Udori's reporters here presented.
It was an infusion of beauty and fashion at the vibrant runway of the 15th Lagos Fashion Week, as Nivea, one of the world's leading skincare brands, brought a refreshing blend of style, confidence, and skin health to the grounds. Industry experts, influencers, and fashion enthusiasts had engaging discussions on the intersection of beauty and Nivea's ongoing commitment to celebrating beauty and confidence.
There's something that goes on before you actually put on your clothes, right? And that's hygiene, it's moisturization, it's putting on roll-on, spraying some good sprays, blocking sweat, blocking odors.
Nivea is making sure we have that important conversation about style before the clothing. So your skincare, the deodorant you use, the moisturizer you use, the sun cream you use.
Beyond the fashion, your confidence is also extremely important, and how much more confident should you get than knowing that you are protected from sweat and odor stains.
The conversation sets the tone for Nivea's signature black and white runway feature, where models dazzled in monochrome outfits that symbolized timeless style and simplicity.
We were challenged to make a collection that would, present this roll-on in grand style. We titled it Modernist Ball, and it was just inspired by very sleek, fashion-forward silhouettes and styles that drove a strong message of youth.
For Nivea, a healthy skin is the foundation of a true beauty, as the new collection provides maximum protection, aligning seamlessly with the creative spirit of Lagos Fashion Week.
The female outfits specially curated to celebrate the African woman, the black and white, absolutely timeless, classic, chic, and then the wave fruit chain infused the lace patterns, even for men, and then the split design of the black and white, just breathtaking.
As the light dimmed on the runway, Nivea's message shone even brighter, that true beauty begins with healthy, cared-for skin.
Well, we're done with the contributions from Lagos. Benny Adams will bring us business news when we return from this break.
Good to know you're here. It's time to talk business. We start by telling you that the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, tells Nigeria's business community that government is working every day to ensure no more bottlenecks in trade facilitation, as access to finance is being enhanced, in addition to sharing up to 60% of credit risks through guarantees.
Is to make the system fairer, to make it
clearer, to make it more efficient, and of course, to spread the tax net as wide as possible so that everybody that benefits gets a chance to contribute.
It is a social contract, a bold, deliberate effort to rebuild the foundations of our economy so that enterprises like yours can flourish free from the constraints of uncertainty, inflation, or poor infrastructure.
I'm proud to say that for the first time in the history of the country, non-oil exports grew by 20.7% year on year to record $5.4 billion.
60% of your risk, the federal government of Nigeria has taken it. You have a viable project, go to your bank, tell them to fund you.
Produce, consume, and send. And that will go on with what the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GACF have said, that buy made in Nigeria, Nigeria first.
Is beginning to think that we appreciate these men here who add value to government.
Well, from the boardroom to the stock market, it's a sea of red across Nigeria, South Africa, and Tunisia, as Nigeria's all-share index fell 0.72%, leading to investors losing 611.96 billion naira, as market capitalization fell to 96.97 trillion naira. South Africa GSE Top 40 is down by 1.70%, driven by global sentiment, commodity price pressure, and domestic economic data, while the Tunisia Tune Index also finished in red, down from its earlier positive momentum. That is it, and business at this time. Elizabeth, have you enlisted in Nigeria's capital market?
I'll try to do that. Thank you so much, Benny. The federal government has appointed Dr. John Nwabueze as new tax ombudsman under the provisions of the Joint Revenue Board of Nigeria Establishment Act 2025. In a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, the appointment reflects President Tinubu's drive to implement sustainable reforms in the country's tax and revenue administration. Office of the Tax Ombudsman will enhance transparency and accountability in tax administration, providing a structured mechanism for resolving disputes between taxpayers and revenue authorities. Dr. Nwabueze will oversee complaints on taxes, levies, customs duties, excess matters, and other related issues, ensuring fair, efficient, and impartial resolutions while safeguarding taxpayers' rights against arbitrary actions by officials. President Tinubu expresses confidence in his ability to uphold integrity and professionalism in the new role. Now, Nigeria's National Petroleum Company Limited is taking bold steps to proactively connect Africa to the rest of the world through its transformative project Fit for the Future initiative. Group Chief Executive Officer Bashir Bayo Ujulari spoke on ongoing measures towards strengthening Nigeria and NNPC Limited's position in global energy markets at ADIPEC 2025. Lydia Sampson brings us details.
Nigeria stands at the heart of Africa's energy future, with NNPC Limited playing a pivotal role in shaping it. As the company evolves from a traditional state corporation into a commercially driven energy leader, it is tasked with ensuring energy security while strengthening Nigeria's role as a reliable global supplier. For Bashir Bayo Ojulari, the company's vision centers on innovation, clean energy and regional collaboration, as well as driving a new era of sustainable growth across the African energy landscape.
Nigeria's deep water has only reached about 1,000 meters.
Well, why is that?
I think it's about technology and it's about deeper investment. We had low-hanging fruits onshore, so all the IOCs that came in focused on the onshore initially and also the shallow water, and then went as far as 1,000 meters. So what I'll say is that Nigeria still has a huge potential in deep water.
With ongoing infrastructure upgrades and digital modernization, NNPC Limited is positioning itself as a catalyst for intra-African trade and global energy partnerships.
The second is about monetizing our huge gas resource, which again we've talked about. And then we're looking at our downstream business, where we're trying to improve on our refinery, deepen our connections on our marketing and trading arm.
As NMPC Limited continues to modernize operations and embrace digital transformation, its proactive role underscores a bold vision for Africa's energy future, resilient, integrated, and globally connected. From Abu Dhabi, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
Away from energy, President Bola Tinubu sends his warm felicitations to business tycoon, philanthropist, and chairman of Geregu Power Limited, Femi Otedola, as he celebrates his birthday. President Tinubu extols Otedola's remarkable contributions to Nigeria's economic growth through his entrepreneurship, investments in the energy sector, and consistent support for national development. The president acknowledges his exemplary business acumen, innovative spirit, and enduring commitment to corporate responsibility, which have made him a model for aspiring entrepreneurs and a symbol of excellence in Nigeria's private sector. He prays Almighty God to bless him with good health, wisdom, and greater accomplishments as he serves the nation and humanity. Let's take a last break, and when we return, sports update with Badi Adele.
Increase capital inflow, improve Nigeria's global standing, and enhance financial stability. NTA Tuesday Live, educative and incisive. Don't miss it.
Thanks for staying with us. And a quick one before we join Bade. The federal government is promising support to the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives towards hosting the Commonwealth Nurses and Midwives Federation Conference coming up in 2026. Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, made the commitment when he received executives of the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives in the State House. President of the association, Comrade Haruna Maman, led other executives on the courtesy visit to seek the support for the upcoming event, the Conference of the Commonwealth Nurses and Midwives Federation, which comprises 58 countries, is slated to hold in April 2026.
It is gladdened to inform you, Your Excellencies, that Nigeria, being the most blessed country in the world, is the first African nation that will contest and win this important event. This great feat is not unconnected to the renewed hope agenda of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
The Chief of Staff to the President promised government support when necessary, other than that a success hosting of the global event would be a pride for the country.
Health is one of the priority areas of this government. I cannot begin to reel out the very many accomplishments of this government in the health sector, many of which you yourself are aware, including the revitalization of health centers, our primary healthcare centers, and so many other areas where this government has prioritized in the health sector. We'll be more than happy, again, like I said, it is worth repeating, to play a role. It is to be our pride that you showcase what we're doing and what we are still going to do when your colleagues come over.
Let's now join Bade for some sporting stories. Bade.
Many thanks, Elizabeth. Let's begin with the news coming from the MPFL as Remo Stars manager Daniel Ogumodede has resigned from his position, leaving the club 17th in the MPFL standings with 3 games in hand. His departure follows a poor run of form, including 4 consecutive losses and elimination from the CAF Champions League after a 7-1 aggregate defeat to Mamelodi Sundowns of South Africa. Ogumodede, who guided Remo Stars to the 2025 MPFL title, had signed a 3-year contract extension in August 2024, but exits with 2 seasons remaining. His dual role as Super Eagles assistant coach reportedly created scheduling conflicts and focus issues as he missed 12 league matches and pre-season due to national team duties. His commitments with Nigeria's AFCON campaign are expected to continue through January 2026. Now, the drive to enhance coaching capacity in Nigeria's beach volleyball has received another boost as the Nigeria Olympic Committee, in collaboration with the Nigeria Volleyball Federation, flagged off a 5-day Olympic Solidarity Technical course for coaches in Abuja. The program, which runs from November 4th to 8th, brings together coaches from across the country for intensive trainings and handled by an international instructor under the supervision of the Federation of International Volleyball. The training aims to equip local coaches with modern techniques and global best practices, ultimately improving Nigeria's performance on the sand court.
This is very important that we are looking towards Los Angeles. With this program course, we are going to look for more players that will come in and will develop them, and they will be participating in international tours.
It's just one more step that the Nigeria Volleyball Federation needs to keep growing, to be in the top level in Africa and having also opportunities to represent your country around the world.
Well, it's goalless between Real Madrid and Liverpool at the moment, and Bayern are 2-0 up against PSG. That does it on Sports Tonight. Let's return to Elizabeth.
Thanks so much, Buddy. The death has been announced of Felicia Imeje, aged 73. A requiem mass will hold on Thursday, November 6, 2025 at St. Luke's Catholic Church, Agaliga, at Chipu, Efabo Parish, Olama Boro local government area of Kogi State at 5 p.m., followed by a wake and night of tributes at the family compound, Agaliga, Etuku, Olama Boro local government area at 7 p.m. A funeral mass will take place on Friday, November 7, 2025 at St. Matthew Catholic Church, Iga Agala, Olama Boro local government area at 11 a.m., while interment will follow immediately after the mass at the resting home of Mama Felicia Imeje, Iga Agala, Olama Boro local government area of Kogi State. Late Madam Felicia Imeje is survived by her children and grandchildren, amongst whom is Professor Martins Imeje, Director General, Nigerian Natural Medicine Development Agency. And that's the news. Thank you so much for your time. I'm Elizabeth Omori.